Hi, my name is Holly Mosak, and I am the creator and CEO of Moxie Leakproof Activewear, where we help empower the 1 in 3 women who experience bladder leaks while exercising by providing a discreet and long-lasting solution. For the past 10 years, my husband and I have owned a CrossFit gym, and every year we host the CrossFit Open, and that's when hundreds of thousands of people around the world compete over a series of 4 to 6 weeks to see who will ultimately go on to the CrossFit Games. Well, one year I was competing in the CrossFit Open. My husband and my son was about 12 at the time. They were cheering me on, and in this particular workout, it was essentially to see how much you could lift. So I had like 5 minutes to see how much I could actually clean the barbell. So clean the barbell off the ground. And I was having a really, really good day. I don't know what got into me, but I was having a really good day. And I had about 90 seconds left, and I cleaned that barbell, and all of a sudden I looked down and I had leaked a small puddle. Now I look over at my husband, and he is just screaming at me like, who cares, keep going, you got it, a minute left. So I look over at my son, and his jaw was dropped, and he had just this look of what in the world just happened. And that's all it took. At that point, I threw the barbell down to the ground, and I was done for the day. What had started to be a really exciting day for me, a really empowering day for me, ended up just being one of really embarrassment and frustration. I was doing so well, and this stopped me. So I started asking other women, hey, does this happen to you? Does this happen to you? And sure enough, I found out how common it was. In fact, 1 in 3 women experience bladder leaks when they're exercising. But there really was no good solution out there. And believe me, I tried everything. And so that's what led me to create the solution. Moxie wasn't the first leak-proof brand out there by any means. There are much larger leak-proof brands out there, but really what those brands are catering to is the undergarment themselves, the underwear. Where Moxie is focused more on the fitness industry, the women who are active out there, who are wearing leggings, who are wearing capris, who are wearing shorts, and don't want to have the bulkiness of the underwear, or they don't want to have to wear a pad. With Moxie Leakproof Activewear, essentially the absorbent layer is built inside of the shorts themselves, so wearing underwear is not necessary. There's a lot of things that get in the way of physical fitness, especially as you get older. A lot of times once you start having kids, that becomes your excuse. You don't have time to get into the gym. You don't have time to go for a run anymore. That creates a lot of emotional stress as well. Having bladder leaks is just one of many problems. And I think my message would be to women out there to not let whatever it is stopping them stay in their way. Whether it's bladder leaks, have small children. Physical fitness is such an important aspect of our lives. We have to stay active, if not for us, for our kids. There are a lot of days where I ask myself, why am I doing this? This is a lot of work. And then I get an email, and it is from a woman who has told me how it has changed her life. Literally, that's what they'll say. These are life-changing. Early on, I had an order for 5 pairs, and I was worried that I was being scammed. So I actually reached out to the customer and said, hey, did you mean to order 5 pairs? And she explained to me that, yes, she did. She, in fact, has had some type of bladder disorder, and she had ordered 1 pair before, and she told me that she wore them to the gym, and that was the first time in years that she felt confident to go to the gym again. And so she bought 5 pairs so she could wear them every day. I had a cross-country coach ask me if I would give a pair to one of her middle school runners, because every time when she got to that sprint, she would have leaks. And so that was a great way that we could empower a young girl to continue to do what she wanted to do. I've also been surprised at how many women wear them for different reasons. Some women are wearing them for period protection, others are wearing it for sweat protection. So it's solving a lot of different problems, and it's always very rewarding to have women tell me that it's changed their lives. At the CrossFit Games, it was great because women would buy them on the first day, And then they would come to my booth the next day and say, I wore them, and they work. Like, they were surprised that they worked, but they were also thrilled that they worked. It's been quite a journey. So when I first got started, I have a full-time job, I have 3 kids, I also run a gym with my husband. So I don't have this apparel industry background, but I wanted to do it. So I contacted a college that has a really good textile program, and I just asked, do you have a senior project that you need to have done? And could this senior project be seeing if what I wanted to do was possible? And so sure enough, they did it. And I would go back and forth from Illinois to North Carolina and meet with the students, and we prototyped it. And after I got that prototype, they also were kind enough to link me up with a consultant. So I quickly partnered with a consultant that had about 30 to 40 years in the dancewear business. So that's what she was doing for her career. She was, designing and manufacturing dancewear. She had retired though and wanted to take on a project that kind of fit a special need. And that's what she saw in my product. So we worked together. She had the apparel, I had the passion background, and we worked together to develop it. There have been a lot of challenges, over the past 5 years, not just with COVID, but just in general, manufacturing in the United States. If you are new to that and you don't know the industry, it is very hard to get into the industry. With the apparel industry, and probably any industry when you're doing production, it's very expensive. And the smaller you are, the more expensive it is. The more expensive the fabric is because I'm buying smaller quantities. Manufacturers don't want to work with you when you're just producing smaller quantities, when you're not producing tens of thousands of units. It's very hard for them to see you as a valuable business. So you have to prove yourself. You have to do a lot of networking. That's been one of the best things, meeting other people that are in the industry, fabric wholesalers that will tell me, here's a good factory you should use, here's a factory you should stay away from, try this factory. I also used a factory that, I made those mistakes of, I paid up front to get the product at a lower price. And guess what? I never got the product. So there's definitely been a lot of learnings along the way, but I feel like it's just made me a better entrepreneur. I feel like everyone's got to learn. A couple things I would say to other veterans out there. I would say, one, this is not an overnight success. As much as you may see that on Instagram or Facebook that people are crushing it, it does not happen overnight. Be prepared for a journey. Figure out the finances early on. That's one thing I wish I would have learned more about when I first started my business, is learn what kind of funding resources are out there. And take advantage of all of these different military grants that are out there and great organizations like Warrior Rising. I was just talking with a veteran the other day who was, he's developing an app, and he wanted to know from a veteran's perspective, what would I recommend? And I told him, Warrior Rising is going to give you the tools to succeed. So don't be afraid to sign up for these organizations. They are great for networking, they're great for support, and they're great for showing you the ropes of how to run a business. I'd say being a veteran definitely gives us an advantage when it comes to starting a business. Of course, there are some disadvantages. I didn't go to business school, but the advantages are what we learned in the military, especially on a deployment. When you're deployed, you just have to make things happen. You don't have everything that you need. You don't have all the experience that you need, but you figure it out. And that's what I feel like this entrepreneur journey has been. I have known nothing, and every step of the way I've learned, or I have found someone that has taught me. So I think in the military, we learn to be resourceful. We learn to make decisions. We learn to not be fearful. That's why I find a lot of people that have an idea, but they're too fearful to do anything about the idea. Where I think with veterans, we don't have that fear. What do we have to lose? The other thing that has always stuck with me since I've been out of the service. In everything that I do was something that I learned in the service, and that was I was fortunate enough to serve in the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. And while I was only in that unit for 2 years, the motto of that unit, Night Stalkers Don't Quit, has always stuck with me. And when I am feeling like, why in the world am I doing this still? Like, oh my goodness, the money I put into this better be worth it one day. That mantra of NSDQ, Night Stalkers Don't Quit, comes back to me and reminds me, hang in there, keep going. There's been a lot in the news lately, if you follow period proof or leak proof underwear, about some of the chemicals that are applied in the underwear to keep it absorbent, to make it odor free, have chemicals that are actually dangerous to the woman. And that is absolutely not what I want to do. The last thing I'd want to do is help women stay active with a medical problem that they have, but then create another medical problem that could be even worse. And so that was very important to me, and something I really look at when I pick the different fabrics I'm using. So one of the fabrics that I'm using that is very different from what you'll find out there is I use bamboo. So bamboo has the natural absorbency, and it also has natural anti-odor. So it's providing a natural solution, a natural barrier versus a chemical barrier. When I first started, my line went from small to extra large, and I was in an entrepreneur program, and a woman came up to me, and she was a plus size woman, and she said, I love your product, let me know when you have plus size. And then she had an emotional moment where she talked to me about, you know, everyone wants us to lose weight and they want us to get into the gym, but there's nothing for us to wear to the gym. And that was really eye-opening to me. I hadn't thought about that. And that's where I realized, you know, we need to be inclusive of all sizes. And so now my sizes run from extra small to 3X. It was really interesting when I went to the CrossFit Games as a vendor this year, because I got to see firsthand that I was the only vendor there that had any plus size for women. So we preach this body inclusivity at CrossFit, but yet the apparel vendors that are at the CrossFit Games, the largest size they carry is XL. So I had a lot of women come to my booth, and even though they didn't experience bladder leaks, they bought my apparel for the sheer fact that they were plus size women. The ultimate goal is for women to not have bladder leaks. I am very upfront and honest with women and tell them I am not a pelvic floor therapist. I am not a doctor. I recommend you see one if you feel that you need one. But I also know that going through the pelvic floor physical therapy is a journey in itself. And even as women are doing that, they will still experience leaks. And even after they do that, they'll still experience leaks. So what I try to do is promote my own story, share what I have tried, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and also share what different pelvic floor therapists have. So very important for me to share these types of things on socials, to share them through emails, so women can be educated on how they can make this bladder leaks less of a problem for them. I would love for women out there to spread the word about Moxie. That is the biggest thing when women find my product. They have found it. They always tell me, I didn't even know something like this existed. So please help spread the word. You can stay up to date on everything that we're doing by connecting with me on social at Go With Moxie, or visiting our website at gowithmoxie.com.